Welcome back, Beautytainers and bank sign holders alike. This was We Were Rooting For You, America's Next Top Model podcast. I am your host, Margaret Poupard, joined by my co-host, and sidekick and cohort in reviewing TV crime, Samir Roy.
Yes, I'm good co.
You give good sweets.
Give good lots of things.
Well,
like top model commentary. Hello.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
Where was your mind going?
I don't know, but it should only be, it should only be on The Girl Who Became Beautiful, which is the name of this week's episode, that we will be discussing at length. You should know the drill. There's no way that you possibly could have stumbled upon this randomly. So.
Precisely. And let's see, they are disembarking from Los Angeles for the distant fashion locale of Las Vegas.
It was for, as Tyra put it, a business modeling opportunity.
What the hell is she talking about?
It's a very peculiar way of saying that. I don't know what it exactly means, but like I said in last week's podcast, I think it's because Zappos Couture, who is one of the prizes, quote unquote, that you can win, is based in Vegas. So even though the business modeling opportunity that seemed to have presented itself this week was more Tyra-focused as this entire show, I think that the business modeling opportunity has yet to be seen. But where we pick up this week is where we left off quite literally last week, in the faux tense moments, final moments, deciding between Devin and Justin, after Dustin had just got back onto the show, because things could not get more confusing if they tried.
Devin, Dustin, Justin.
Yeah. And then when it's Justin versus Devin, even Devin and Dustin, it's like, That's how I feel about the whole thing.
About all of them in general.
Yeah.
I mean, Dustin's very pretty. I think he's got a very easy path ahead of him. If he wants to model, all he has to do is go out there and say, I want to model. And it'll be much different than it was on this show. I
do think that if he gives himself some time to, not be graduating from high school and skipping prom.
We knew that was... It was, not even halfway through the episode when he said that. And you're like, oh, that always...
But he said that the last time he got kicked off, so it was kind of like, bump.
Yeah, but he wasn't missing prom the last time because he got eliminated. So
he said missed prom this time. So I missed prom and I'm missing graduation. So I guess graduation was happening around the time he got eliminated for a second time. God, what horrible timing you have.
In cycle 4, cycle 5, cycle everything. So there's always somebody who's I distinctly remember a girl being like, I missed graduation for this. And she's like, think of how many people would want to be in your shoes to have this opportunity. You had an opportunity, so you didn't miss anything. It's like, but no, she literally missed something that she would have really enjoyed. I didn't give a shit about it, but, I know she would have. You could tell she was that kind of girl. And the second you say that in the show, and it's like, oh, and you will have missed it all for nothing because you were going home in an hour.
Missed it all for nothing twice. He missed his prom all for nothing to get eliminated probably around the time the prom was happening. Then he got brought back onto the show only to get eliminated right around the time that he's probably supposed to be graduating from high school.
I think they're switched. Isn't your prom usually after graduation? Your graduation ceremony is in May, and prom, I don't know, maybe it was always the way it was in San Diego.
Yeah, no, we had prom first, and that was right before, it led into Memorial Day weekend, and then we didn't graduate till 2 weeks after. So we had prom and then graduation. And the way that he was kind of pitching it, I mean, it doesn't really fucking matter. Either way, he missed two, cliched TVs and movies tell you that these moments are important events during high school. And, I mean, I personally feel like maybe he might have been better served going to them instead of on this show. But that's what you get for letting 18-year-olds do whatever they want.
I know. He was part
of the contract
that he
roped into going to Vegas, too. And he's not 21 yet. It's
so
what kind of fun can you have? Yeah.
They can't bring him any drinks when he's gambling. He can gamble, can't he?
Can he? I thought most of those casinos are 21 and over, not 18.
Well,
I think only some.
The SLS hotel, I guess, wasn't. What was it called? SLS?
It was well, it should be SOS for those models, but no, it's called the SLS.
Oh, on the way. So of course, they don't even get a flight. They don't even get to fly a plane there they all get in the top model bus that drives them from Los Angeles. Like it's like the same thing they've been driving around in
that shuttles them
time.
around to,
and now it just shuttled them all the way to fucking Vegas. And they're like, the whole way, what are they gonna do? Well, they had to talk about something, so let's talk about the poop phones. The poop phones are so great, and like you can make memories by taking selfies, and the poop phone's really great for that. And like that's what I'm really here for, is to make memories. Or I'm like, you're not. This ad is not working. I already have a phone that takes pictures. Somehow, like, do you think that I'm like, oh my god, well these models are doing it? Fuck you, iPhone 6s. I'm taking the fucking Oppo poop phone. That's the thing of the future, says Tyra.
I guess. I don't know. Does it come with the Line app? That's all I really need to know.
It's pre-programmed in, like the Watch app on the new iPhone.
And you can't get rid of it.
It's just there.
Okay. Well, I mean, the advertisements came in hard and heavy immediately. I feel like the Oppo phone or the poop phone plug was sort of to like get you ready for the barrage of ads. I mean, Tyra should teach a class on native advertising because she went all in.
For real, I was like, how many minutes are you going to talk about these phones?
It wasn't even the phone. It's like, well, we're not talking about the phone. We're going to talk about the hotel. We're not talking about the hotel and its spa.
We're going to talk about how empowering your makeup is.
Yeah, you're going to talk about Tyra Beauty Cosmetics. And we're not talking about that. We're going to make sure that we circle back to one of the other things that we established. It was kind of insane. I mean, I felt like maybe at any point in time she might be plugging like the craft services. It didn't matter.
I mean, realistically,
everything that wasn't nailed down was an ad.
She should have not had Hadassah do the line about like, this is like the most beautiful hotel I've ever been in, and I've been to a lot of beautiful hotels. And I'm like, girl, you cannot act. I do not buy that line for 1 second from you. I believe that maybe you have been to a lot of beautiful hotels. I do not for a second believe that this is the most beautiful one you've ever seen. It looked every surface in that hotel looks like something you'd snort coke off of.
Yeah, it was all like chrome and reflective, and
I'm like, what is the point of this? And I'm like, you should have had Niall do that. Because
if he
doesn't have a tone of voice that has to be convincing. It just has to be the sign. I mean, he's already shown us that he can sign like a sexy demon. Like,
he can sell the signage. Like, he can like smize and sign or whatever Tyra was getting at that first time. She's like, you don't have to be Niall, you have to be Niall. That kind of thing. So he's finally delivering on that. Well, more than delivering on that. I still don't understand. We'll get to that. That's my personal gripe this week. But everything was like chrome and reflective. And you know how in the Standard in West Hollywood in LA has people like sleeping in kind of like a window display, essentially, like above the reception where you check in?
Well, like a pod hotel?
Sort of, except it's just someone that works at the Standard who is... they switch out the models because I think they have to like lay there for a couple hours at a time. But they have like live people in like a miniature sort of hotel room of what the Standard looks like inside, but they're like on display, like, you know, like a window display, like you would see clothes in a store to entice you to come in. And it's right above, like, literally the reception desk's head. And so, like, it's all you can stare at when you walk in and you check in. Anyway, the SLS looks like a giant version of that.
That sounds terrifying.
Yes, that hotel does look terrifying. And of course it's brand new and they're in need, desperately apparently, of some advertising since they allowed Top Model to come in. They must be related to Zappos or something. They were plugging them pretty hard. Like they even talked about their fucking spa.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you know, they'll do anything to fill the hotel.
I guess.
Even except Tyra and her model Contestants. But they still had to sing for their supper to get those rooms, which was...
Quite literally did they have to sing for their supper to get those rooms. The sheer amount of free labor and like kind of, like I said earlier, like the native advertising and just kind of like subliminal messages everywhere.
Oh, and then she tricked them because they finally get to their rooms or room or whatever you call that.
I think it's just one giant room. They're like, look at this penthouse. But they're also sharing beds and there's still not enough beds per person.
That's how you know someone's going right away. As always. We always knew this. But nonetheless, they get there and they're like, oh, here's a box for each of them with like a special outfit that was bought for them. And they're like, oh, this is awesome. And like, oh, this is an invite to a VIP party. Yeah. Very important people to keeping the cost of this photo shoot low.
Right.
Because we've had a former model. I bet there's something in the contract about former people being on a previous cycle, like having to come back at least once for no pay or something. But
Maybe.
but we'll promote something of yours if you come on, but you're not going to get a check from us. Because they come back so frequently. People are like, Don is there for no reason at all, because now he has a music career and he's a DJ and he's got an album dropping whose title I did not write down because I was never going to purchase it. But so for some reason he's there to help with this little photo shoot that they think is going to be a VIP party. You know,
it's kind of sad because it actually ended up being like a work thing overall anyway, because we saw later in the music video.
Republic.
No wonder. I knew Kelly was behind this music video idea. But when we see the music video that's world premiered at the end of this episode, we noticed that some shots from their mini challenge that was supposed to be just a photo shoot mini challenge ended up being actual shot footage that they put in the music video. So they really just worked double overtime for zero pay. And
like, they were like,
oh yeah, and Don Benjamin's there.
Yeah, he's there with his beautiful eyes. He's still gorgeous.
Yeah, no one's saying that. But like you said, he's a DJ and he makes music. Album? Anybody can have an album these days, apparently.
Yes, anybody can have an album these days. Even us. That's coming next.
Yes, we'll be like Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett.
Oh, yes, I'm Lady Gaga, though.
So I'm the old, overly tanned man? Great.
Yes, you are.
I don't like this anymore.
Well, he's the least fabulous of that pairing. That just can't be how it is.
We'll have to rethink. We'll have to rethink this pairing. But I'm not singing on anything ever.
That's why because Tony Bennett can't really sing very well no more, so that's why you're the Tony Bennett. Lady Gaga still can sing. So
I see what's happening here. Great. You're being one shady bitch right now.
I'm not being that shady.
No, you really are.
I am wearing all black, but...
But if Miss Fame and Violet Chachki can have albums, and Pearl, I guess literally anybody can. So now Don has an album that he needs to promote. Why he thinks it'd be best serviced on this show is honestly yet to be seen, because I actually thought that he might be singing the theme song for Tyra's cosmetic line, and why a cosmetic line even needs a theme song, I am not sure. But when it's revealed that he's not even the singer for that, I just kind of wondered what the point was of him being there. Because even his critique was just Nicki Minaj levels of, I would stop on this page. I would not stop on this page.
But then he had one comment, which was like clearly written for him by someone else, where they were like, it's like, yeah, Niall seemed to get way too much into like the party Vegas aspect of it instead of the, remembering that he's trying to sell a product. And I'm like, first of all, you didn't give them a product to sell.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. That stuck out.
That made no sense. But that also does not sound like the kind of observation that you would be capable of making on this photograph. Because, first of all, it made no sense as a critique anyways.
And the extent of his critique up into that point where something was blocking her face.
Oh my god, and then they don't even talk about the fact that like the whole point is supposed to be like there's a shot of you like in mid-air, like in mid-jump. And so then like Hadassah completely covers her face with her dress when she's
that wasn't purposeful. They gave her a dress that had a goddamn bib on it.
Yeah, but see, if she was smart, she would have done something else with it rather than raise the arm that's underneath that big flappy piece of material and raise that arm above her head, which is naturally going to raise all the fabric right over your face. So what they do is like, oh, but we still got a good shot. Yeah, when she was an inch off the ground before she'd even really started flying. I'm like, oh, so when everything's still in place, that's the picture you used. So
but that can't be applied to anybody else.
Yeah, I was like,
only
so
Hadassah.
How many other people's photos probably looked good before they started flying? They probably looked even better there, where everything's more perfectly in control and they're still trying to give face. As opposed to when they're in the air and they're trying to maintain face.
Yeah, and his critique of Niall's photo was a little tone deaf for a couple of reasons too. Is that Dustin had a really similar shot to Niall, but they praised Dustin's shot, like trying to give us some sort of inkling, and like Dustin wasn't going to go home.
He looked like dead in the eyes in his picture. I mean, I like him. He's a beautiful boy. He looks great in the photograph. But he did look kind of dead in the eyes in that shot. And they were like, oh, he's one of the top 3. I'm like, this is why you shouldn't have this guy who doesn't even work as a model anymore help you judge anything about modeling. I mean, it's already such a unquantifiable animal as it is to have people who have zero experience other than having been on your show is not Those are the credentials I look for in a modeling judge. Excuse me.
You have very high standards. The show is on a very tight budget. This is all that they could afford.
It can be done.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter what happens because Mame wins and she wins some sort of spa day. But what happens in the mini challenge seems to not apply really into the main challenge. I mean, in terms of results. Like, they were trying to build up this, like, Dustin's going to come back. And they tried to slip in, was it Mame's sob story was slipped in there, and so was Niall's, talking about their family. And, I mean,
Mame was just pure red herring.
Niall but they were, like, explaining, well, they were trying to stretch the fact that she was sad over Justin's departure, since she seemed to have, like, a little mini, I wouldn't say meltdown, but she was upset, visibly upset in the confessional room. And then they spliced in some stuff that we had already heard before from her family background. So it didn't really feel like new information. They just added more baby pictures. So that was a little much. And then they dug into Niall's story. They were trying to, like, give us some subconscious, like, these two could be going home. Like, no, they're not.
I think it was, like, with Niall, it was...
Fall from grace?
Sort of, yes. It was supposed to be like, oh, this is like I said, this is where, like, you know, you had a snag on your, like, fast... progress straight to the top of top model land. They have to have. It's
not very high. You have to climb.
There has to be an incident. There has to be something. In terms of script, that element is needed. There has to be a challenge of some kind for them to overcome at some point. So it's like this is his moment for his challenge. I guess really like after he'd been started coasting. Because it's like, oh, otherwise it's just going to be, like, smooth sailing and no one's even going to be the least bit concerned for, like, these people that we want you to feel an emotional thing for. So you have to have ups and downs rather than just a bunch of highs.
The thing is that it just didn't land for me because he was so confident in all of the interview footage that they used of him. And he did so well.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say I bought it.
Yeah, no, it was just like...
or anybody did,
I guess it was just hard. It was harder for them, the editors, to, like, sell as a storyline because he was so confident and did so well. And they tried as hard as they could to, like, muddle it.
So they put him on the bottom at the judging of the mini challenge. So we had 6. Which Devin, at one point, didn't even realize scores went so low.
But getting a 7 in the mini challenge made him rethink if he was a good model or not. That was what did it.
Just that.
I don't get it.
I'm like, that's probably why you drink as much as you do, isn't it?
Does he drink a lot?
Well, it seems like he's always drunk every evening. Anytime the sun goes down, so too does his sobriety.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good news, though. It seems like the D and the M left over from DMA are slowly drifting apart.
They needed to add a T to that. They all would have mellowed out. Had a nice vision of the future. But no, they didn't do that. Although, Mikey does look like he's on something.
I still feel like he's super dead in the eyes. The sunken-in eyes don't... And, like, the big bags under them. Like, I know you guys aren't getting much sleep, but you... do have makeup artists, so I don't know why they're emphasizing it on you if they don't like you, if you're creepy.
Part of the story.
Yeah, it's part of his, like, I also overcame meth while on this show story.
Is that what he was saying?
No, that's what I'm making up.
But
clearly my idea is already catching on.
But they were talking about something, like him and Devin, and he was like, oh, so how are you dealing with this or whatever? He's like, I'm dealing with it. I'm like, oh, well, are you going to elaborate on that or... have a conversation about it?
Well, I think what that was in reference to was how he didn't get, like, he was kind of towards the bottom, right? He didn't have great feedback last week. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. It doesn't really matter. But Mikey was extremely dismissive of Devin, which is what really mattered in that conversation. And it doesn't seem like Devin quite gets the hint, which made like his analogy about Dustin being like a gnat or a fly that's like buzzing around.
I'm like, oh my god,
even more ironic. It was just so.
The writer reveals more of himself than of his subject. Is how that felt to me.
Yes, I'm like, yeah, Devin doesn't have the fortitude
you are
to come
looking
up
at
with
your
that.
picture of Dorian Gray right there.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. And he makes that analogy several times over in this episode.
They, like, really wanted you to know how much that these people really hated having Dustin back. Like, they really don't like having a happy person around. I'm like, he's 18. He's probably horny all the time. Of course he's going to hit on all the girls. Why is this a shock to you? Do you think this doesn't happen anywhere else? I'm pretty sure that professional male models probably still hit on female models sometimes. Maybe not as much as this 18-year-old kid, but I'm pretty sure that still happens. I mean, once you've been working with models, who else do you want to have sex with? So it's really, I'm like, Dustin's like, it's just like so childish, and I just can't stand it anymore. I'm like,
and then she goes
from the
on to
woman
like,
who says nobody stare directly at me.
Yeah, and she goes on to like say a bunch of like obnoxious shit herself about and immature shit as well about Dustin and why he doesn't deserve to be back here. And
I'm like, why do you
not
deserve
really
to be here?
Exactly, it's not really your place to make that call, and who cares anyway?
Like, you're not gonna win, and if you do, well, maybe you should, because then nobody will ever hear from you again.
This is true. Whatever happened to...
Gotta be careful what you wish for.
I don't foresee Hadassah. I mean, she did not do super well this week, other than her sort of... I mean, that was kind of a cheat. That was a little bit of a cheat that they picked the photo where she doesn't have a bib flying up in her face. Granted, that dress was hideous regardless of what she did with her arm. Like, it was a bad look. It didn't look good on her. It was swallowing her. It didn't really fit her that well. So for them to pick the photo before everything went to shit was not only like a cop-out, but it just was servicing a little bit more of that, like, I got second photo of the week, and that's like, I'm getting better. I'm like, I feel like at this point you shouldn't be getting better anymore. You should be trying to excel what you've already done and having the judges expect more out of you, and I don't feel like they expect that much, but maybe their tune is going to change.
Maybe. I don't see it, though. She just looks the same, like, in her photos, in her one-on-one interviews, in everything. It's, like, kind of dead, emotionless eyes.
She's a pageant girl.
No passion for anything, except when they, like, gave her, like, oh, you're going to be, like, the shopper, so you're, like...
Well, she has a passion for being snarky, because she was definitely, like... Well, not even snarky. She was definitely super bitchy towards Dustin, where, like, the most... vocally so. I think it was like on the second day.
So what have you learned from being eliminated and coming back? I'm like, what have you learned, period, in your life? Like, it just, what do you think he's going to answer?
Well, I did appreciate Dustin's response, which was like, I learned, because she also made a dig, or what she probably thought was like super shady, but she said something to the extent of like, what did you learn like while you weren't on this show learning? Like, he's like, I learned not to stress out over little things like all of you. I was like, oh, you've been hanging out with Niall or what?
Niall has real things to worry about. He's got to think about how he's going to win the title if he wants to. Or maybe just finish in the top 3.
I was going to say, I'm like, he doesn't need to win. He just needs to just get rid of everybody else.
Yes, we just need him to make it to, like, to the end. And then if he doesn't win, then he has a better chance of having a modeling career, which... I feel like he already has, because he, like, is showing up all over, like, Facebook, Twitter, everything. Like, there's always a new photo shoot or, like, some other article or something about something. So, like, he gets a lot of coverage, like, all over the place. Like, he's clearly, like, the star of this season. So, like, no matter what happens...
I mean, I have to give Tyra credit where credit is due. This is definitely, like, the most diverse cast I've looked at in a while. Regardless of if it's just a reality show.
Right, regardless of if that diversity brought someone like Devin and Mikey onto the show.
Yeah. I don't know if Devin would be slightly less insufferable if Mikey weren't around, because I feel like, at least in the beginning, they sort of fed off each other. Now it seems like that relationship is starting to dissipate, and Devin is becoming slightly more aware of how annoying he can be and what his skill set really may or may not be, since he doesn't have...
Devin has a skill set?
I said may or may not be.
Okay.
But he has to come to terms with that by himself. Like, obviously, we can see what he is capable of and what he is not capable of. I mean, like I mentioned in my review, he's only ripe old 22 years old, so he might be able to correct his career path and become a backup dancer like I think he's truly destined to be.
Well, that is a nice segue into what the main challenge was, which was Tyra identifying her terms for once, because she tells us what a beautytainer is. It's a Tupperware party hostess.
She basically has... Tyra Cosmetics is not so much a cosmetic line as much as it is Cutco knives, minus the knives, replaced with cosmetics. It's a pyramid scheme.
Sort of. And you earn... Yeah, because you earn bank signs. Get it? Because she's Tyra Banks. Bank signs. Bank signs. Which is like...
Say it one more time.
Bank signs. Does that mean we'll get some bank signs if we say it enough times?
Yeah, we can maybe we'll get sponsored by bank signs.
Oh my gosh, so what can we spend the bank signs on?
Probably only Tyra Cosmetics.
I need that boom, boom, boom stick.
Great, because I need that smack my fat lash.
Yes, we all do. I could use a little bit of that, too. Halloween's coming, you know. But, you know, I also want to have a nice boom, boom, boom without actually having to work out. That's what that stick does, right?
Yeah, unless you're talking
you
about
eat it, and then it melts away the fat.
I thought that
or
you
sprayed
it, and then I smell your fears?
No. Feel my boom.
Oh, okay. But then I smell something, right?
Smell my fears?
Yeah, was part of the boom, boom, boom spray.
Yes.
Smell your fear because you just ingested toxic fumes, toxic cosmetics.
Pyrochemicals.
Oh my god. But anyway, so Beautytainers and bank signs. Go ahead, do explain.
So the Beautytainer is like, you know, it's like those jewelry parties one of your mom's friends always has. You bring the makeup, everybody's like, look at all these amazing things, all these great things we can do with it, like this magical stick that is like, what was it? It was like, it blends in with whatever your skin tone is. I'm like, so it's like clear deodorant. Like, I don't understand what this makeup does for you if it just blends into your skin and then you don't see it, but it doesn't have any real effect.
I don't know.
Is it supposed to make you shiny so you need powder?
Was it not concealer?
I guess it was, but it just matches everyone's skin tone. I'm like, oh, so you've mastered some alchemical process that no other makeup producer in the world has been able to do, but Tyra did it, and if you want to get it...
But they just told Devin to regurgitate some random line. It doesn't mean that he truly believes it, or that it's even true whatsoever.
Well, she kept saying it, and everyone was like, oh, look, it really does.
It's like brainwashing. If you say it enough times, they'll start to believe it. I mean, they have Stockholm Syndrome already.
That's true. They've been cut off from the outside world.
Yeah, how many weeks has it been? 9?
I don't think it's really been that. I think it's been 9 days.
Oh my god.
They lose all sense of time in there. It's like, you know, being a prisoner of war. You get no windows. You don't know if it's day, is it night?
Or, just to tie into this analogy, it's like being in a casino. You have no windows and they pump air in, and you have no idea what time it is. All you know is that you feel good, or you think you do. Someone just keeps handing you drinks.
And suddenly your facial hair is like all the way down to your waist. And you don't even know what year it is anymore.
No, but somehow you have like a truck stop voice. Hey, sweetie.
Can you give me another vodka rocks, please?
So we learned what Beautytainers are, and then we also learned what bank signs mean, which I think
It's like credit you build up, and then you have to build up enough bank signs, I think, to exchange it for real money, like a paycheck. But it's going to be like 3,000 bank signs. It's worth $1,000.
Yeah, is it really going to be that high?
I have no idea what the exchange rate for bank sign to real money is.
But
it's not good, is my guess.
It's not a currency regarded by the
or is
U.S.
this a
Mint.
Ponzi scheme? I'm not sure how this works.
I don't know. Isn't a pyramid scheme... Well, isn't a Ponzi scheme just a pyramid scheme upside down?
Either way, it's a scheme.
Regardless, we're onto you, Tai, and we love it.
I know. I'm finding it very entertaining. I'm beauty-tained, if you will. But so
I have a question though. So she shot all the. So she starts this all off by telling them about the commercials that she shot last cycle. Which shout out to our girl Chantal, who I saw in the Desigual window.
That's right. I saw her too.
I was like, oh hey, I know you.
I still wouldn't wear those clothes.
No, she's still
except for the underwear day where you get the outfit for free.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
I was in the paper.
You were in the paper?
That was a few years ago.
I remember. But yeah, I agree. Underwear day is the only way to dress there. Regardless, Chantal, they showed a clip of Chantal, or whatever her name, Winnie Harlow, if that's what her name is now.
Her real name?
Is that a real name?
I have no idea.
I think that's her stage name to get away from her top model past.
Yeah, you have to do that.
You gotta claw your way away.
Danielle from Cycle 6 became Danny.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She lost her smile and the L. Just Danny.
Tyra took her smile. But yeah, they showed a clip of Chantal with, what's his face? Adam, and them screaming like...
What were they screaming?
I want to say it's Smack My Fat Lash, but now that I am thinking of it... Oh, Whoops Liner!
Oh, the Whoops Liner. I still don't none of these products.
I don't think that you... Ladies, you don't want to say whoops while you're doing your eyeliner makeup, because that shit is obnoxious, and... You just want it done as quickly as possible. At least that's how I feel. But I hate makeup, so there's that.
Yeah.
Regardless, whoops and eyeliner are not 2 words I want to hear together. More
Yeah,
like,
right?
also like, whoops, baby. Like, there are like things you don't want to hear whoops before.
Like, whoops, I just created a problem that's going to take another 20 minutes to fix.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yep, I'm going to have to like take
Well, now
off
I'm
makeup
going to
just from
have
this
Cleopatra
eye.
eyes tonight.
Yeah. So she starts them off by talking about her commercials. So she did the commercials, and now she's doing a theme song music video for those commercials. Like, I thought that this line was supposed to launch like a year ago. Is it still not out?
No, it's out. People just aren't buying it, so she's got to sell it in any way
Got
she
it.
can.
Got
and
it.
she doesn't in a way that doesn't require her to pay too much. So all she had to do was pay for
The
their
amount
bus
of
ride
free
over.
labor here is astounding.
It's almost like Star Jones is like one of the producers. Remember when she bartered for everything so she didn't have to pay
In
for
her
her
wedding? Yeah.
all those years ago? That wedding that didn't last?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that was like a messy divorce, too. Anywho.
Oh my god, that was funny because when she went on her book tour, she would make her husband wait in the limo. What I heard.
Well, didn't she also get like her...
Allegedly, she made her husband wait in the limousine.
She made her alleged husband allegedly wait in the alleged limo / town car, allegedly. She ain't got no limo. What was I gonna say?
But nonetheless, she bartered for everything for her wedding, so she didn't pay for nothing.
Oh,
and
right.
Tyra
Did she also barter for her lap band surgery? Just quick aside. She did, didn't she?
I feel like she must have, but she didn't acknowledge that she'd had one. She kept saying that she did it all through her, her book was called Shine or something. And it was all about how she changed her life for the better and got healthy and lost all this weight and found love and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, anyways, Rosa O'Donnell was like, so you had a lap band surgery. And she's like, what are you talking about? Of course I didn't do that. You're totally crazy. I did it all through diet and exercise and love. Sugar, love. And she's like, no, you totally had that surgery. Like, I can tell because I had that surgery. I'm not even going to argue this with you. You totally had it. And she's like, no, I didn't. It's like, I don't know why you said that about me. You're such a liar. Horrible bitch. And then later she's like, so yeah, I had that surgery.
Sponsored by Chili's.
Yeah. All you need is a complete diet of some horrible food, and it'll cleanse you because you won't keep any of it in your body for more than an hour. God. It goes in and out as fast as it went in. Like, what's that place called? KFC.
Oh, God. Well, much like Tyra's music video concept, it definitely went in and went out and did not stick around. It was...
like Dustin, basically.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, the song was a mess. The music video was crazy.
Well, they all had roles for the music video, so it was like Lacey was. I guess then
she's the star. She went from shy
to Bootyful.
Yeah.
So I guess but then she was not really the star in terms of performance of the video.
Well, who they thought was the star in terms of performance, I scoff at.
Like glottal stop. Like,
yeah. Well, for what I guess it had to happen at some point. We were calling it a couple weeks ago about how there needs to be some sort of like, shake up. Like it's not just going to be Mame, Niall, and Lacey in the top 3 all the time.
They got to convince us that there's a chance somebody else will be there. So they've been developing this. Mikey's been sucking it up real bad for a few episodes. Like, so this was his comeback moment. When it was supposed to be, even though they were trying to confuse us that Dustin was, because Yusai kept screaming, he's really earning your comeback. I'm like, you realize we're not following this because we've heard nothing but bad things about his performance the entire time.
I mean, he was the host, the party host. It was his house. He looked so uncomfortable. I'm not sure if it was, like, I mean, there has to be a little credit to what Hadassah was saying, which was like, he wasn't practicing at all. So I don't know if he like even ever heard the song before they went to set. It was hard because they were splicing it in a certain direction.
But I swear there were other shots like when Mame was being, because it was weird because if he's the party host, then why is Mame also the one taking the payments like she's hosting the party? Because isn't that what the host does is like.
But it's his house. So
she's using his house for her party. So he's just the house owner.
Right.
And this Beautytainment selling extravaganza is supposed to be so energetic and musical and amazing that he's so excited that it's happening in his house.
Click it.
I'm like, now that is just a role that no actor, no matter how talented, could ever sell. But nonetheless, I swear in the shots of
the role makes no sense in the context. Like, even just how you described it, like, wouldn't it make more sense if it was Mame's house?
It would make sense.
Or even Hadassah's house, since she was supposed to be the one that was, like, trying to have some cosmetics with the side of man, as Tyra put it.
Right? And, like, this story doesn't make sense. Like, how did the shy girl get invited to this? Who invited her?
She looked like she was stalking them the way that they shot her.
Yeah, she like looking at everything like, oh.
Well, there was a shot of
these
Lacey
are the things I'm gonna take
in between
with me.
some vases, and she was backlit. She looked like she was stalking people. She looked crazy. And she also looked a little bit like the guy in the bucket hat from Home Improvement.
Like, how did she know Mame's character?
I don't know.
How does she know Dustin's character?
Maybe she knows Dustin's character. Maybe she knows Mame. Maybe she knows Adasa. Maybe she's just the weirdo next door that likes to show up to things unannounced.
She's like, I'm always invited, right?
I don't know. Who knows?
But they weren't shy. The Ropers were never shy.
Right, I know. But
they were brazen and bold, just like her outfits.
Trying to think of someone that like barges into people's homes. Kramer? He's not shy either. I don't know.
None of them are shy. That's
to show up and be weird and like lurk like that, you have to know someone, right?
Like, you don't know what you thought you knew you were here for a makeup party. Is the makeup that amazing that you're in bewilderment, like you just saw Machu Picchu for the first time or something?
She definitely. I mean, she was working. Lacey was working to sell that like, oh my god, oh.
She was doing a really good job.
No, I thought so, but I thought that the direction was really silly.
No, it was stupid.
To just be like, pretend like you've never seen makeup before, and that it's also fire for the first time, and you're a caveman, and go.
Like, I can't wait to cook a rabbit on that.
Yeah.
But,
fire.
like, in the shots of Mame's, like, swiping the card and all that stuff, I could swear that there's images of Dustin, like, actually being, like, that role, like, really well. And then when they asked him to do it, like, and it was just his moment, it was like, oh.
It was pretty much like the same issues that were before, except,
you know.
Yeah, stage.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of the same issues before with kind of having to deal with a little bit of stage fright, which everybody kind of took as him not taking it seriously, but he would just kind of get like nervous giggles because all eyes are on you. And this is exactly why I don't feel like modeling and acting is for everybody, because you are getting really silly direction. You have to put all of yourself into it, no matter how dumb you think it sounds, and you have to try and sell it. And like, he looks very uncomfortable having to do that. And it kind of like came up again, except, you know, on the second day of the shoot, he seemed a little bit more comfortable, weirdly enough, wearing that like, I don't know, bulbous vest, and they spun him around in a, I don't know, it looked like a go-go dancer's box, but I don't know what it really is. But he looked more comfortable the second day, but the first day, like when he had to have lines and it was all like on him and he was getting like really specific direction, he just kind of like clammed up, and for some reason couldn't even do click it.
I know, that was really weird. He couldn't even get that.
Because that's pretty simple. It's literally 2 words, the same word twice, and all you have to do is to the beat, and it's not that hard. I feel like pat it, dip it, stick it, or whatever they were saying before you get to click it was probably...
Pat it, stick it, dig it. I don't know.
Close, yeah.
Whatever that was.
Whatevs. I feel like that was probably more of a tongue twister than click it. Anyway.
And he didn't have to say any of those other things.
No, he didn't. So I don't know what was so hard about click it, especially when you get replaced by the deaf guy, Niall, who totally kills that. And he only really heard like the beat sort of through the headphones and was like kind of trying to follow along with the lyrics. But clearly having to do more of the work beforehand really serviced him well, because I thought he did an outstanding job.
He did a really good job.
I don't understand how Mikey won this whatsoever.
I know, that was, but you know what, Tyra was trying to also tell him how important it is to be on all the time, because she's like, see, if it wasn't for your low challenge score, you would have been higher, kind of thing was what she said to Niall at the end in the judging, because he came up...
But I thought Niall's picture was actually really good on top of it.
It was, but because it's combined, your placement at the end is combined with your challenge score, because he had the lowest challenge score.
No, I thought his challenge photo was also decent.
I did think that was better than they gave it for, but that was part of her message there, was like, oh, we'll see how important that is too.
And I felt like that was a little bit of like Tyra foreshadowing, like, we're just fucking with you guys. We gave him a low challenge score. You thought he was going to go home, but he's not. Like, duh. You'd be making a huge mistake, big, if you did that.
So they tried many times to fool us. We didn't get fooled once.
No.
Just like Niall didn't miss a single beat. I did not miss a single beat of your story editors, Tyra. I didn't fall for a single red herring. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, even that somebody undeserving was going to win the challenge this week. I mean, we saw that coming as it went on, because I was like, they're talking too highly.
But the way that they were raving about Mikey, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm watching the same thing that you guys are. Like, he busts, so there's a part of this music video that is sort of separate from the Mame is a Beautytainer, Lacey is the shy to beautiful girl, and Hadassah and Mikey make out. I don't really know. That's part of the story, right?
They're like at that club in those crazy outfits, like,
But I'm actually thinking about the hallway scene, or the black and white room, as the judges call it. Is that? I mean, that's separate. That's
separate. That was all part of the video, but that was a separate thing that each of them did on their own.
Mm-hmm. So when
Mikey's was slamming the door open.
When he busts open the door and starts kind of like rapping towards the camera or whatever, you saw Tyra and I think Kelly all had the same like positive feedback, which is like, this is so 90s, like it's like 90s rock
so
realness.
Rock and roll. And
I was like, I don't. Okay, first of all, 90s was grunge rock. It's not rock and roll. Those are, don't get it twisted. Those are two different things. Second of all, are you guys just like dying for the 90s to come back, or for us to go back in time to the 90s because it was a better time for all three of you? Because I don't get 90s from this. I don't know why you think that's a positive thing. And towards the end, when it wasn't Mikey just like flinking the door open really, and then like yelling down the hallway, when he was just trying to dance, he looked so uncomfortable. He cannot dance to save his fucking life. Like, no, I will give credit to Devin because he can actually fucking dance.
No, Devin's dancing was good. It was actually like it worked with whatever the hell they wanted them to do. Right. I was actually like, oh my god, that was like. I think
they wanted him to be a mime because they gave him like a weird hat. It was really funny.
It was the unicorn moment. Like, you know, like, oh my god, he does actually have some skill at something. I'm like, oh my god, Devin did something interesting that I don't hate. Right. Like, I'm buying a lottery ticket. It was such an out of the...
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle indeed. But nonetheless, I was like,
and it's a miracle to all of you.
But fucking Mikey, I'm like, the thing that they seem to love the best whenever he does it is basically his style is angry and unhinged hillbilly. I'm like, I don't know
Rob
if that's
Zombie casting call.
Yes,
as we like
I
to
said
call
it before. I'm like, he looks like he should be.
Or Deliverance action figure, which I love.
Yes. Both of those are completely accurate. They're both in the same spectrum.
I would agree.
You know, I just don't understand why they always like lose. And I'm like, dude, you have really strange issues with wanting men to be overly aggressive. Like, that seems to be what you really respond to.
I feel like Tyra chokes Mr. Tyra in bed.
She might be. Actually, I'm just not going to go there.
We don't have enough time on this podcast.
And it's not going to be a therapy session about the time that I met somebody who didn't want to do that and I left. You know, that's how fucking David Carradine died. I don't...
Yeah, as you rightfully should. You don't take part of that.
Like, that was just... No.
I would also feel like David Carradine's a very apropos...
But I bet just being around Tyra, you kind of feel like you're choking a little bit all the time.
It's the sound of your soul leaving your body.
It's like she's a dementor.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful dementor.
Well, what I have to say, she was trying to get those... She was trying to get those 18-year-old Dustin tears when she eliminated him, and you could tell she was frustrated that he wasn't more upset that he was leaving.
Oh, yeah. Like, well, when he came in, she's like, so how do you feel being back? I feel good. Just good. And it's like, well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I should be one of those people whose self-esteem is entirely dependent on whether or not I'm on America's Next Top Model. Unfortunately, that's not the world that I live in, and I'm kind of happy in the world I'm in. So I'm just going to take the contacts and the advantages of having been here for a little while. I now know what not to do because I learned it from you guys, and I'm going to peace out.
See y'all later. I'm actually 18. Bye.
I'm going to go earn
Unlike
some real
Devin,
money.
who is not 22.
Devin, 32.
That sounds about right to me.
32, and he spent a small portion of his life on Mars without oxygen, like on Total Recall, before his helmet shut again, because that must explain his odd features.
Right. Well, even though, I mean, Mikey got overpraised for one reason or another, Devin ended up with second place, which is a first. I mean, I know he's won photo of the week.
Second place is a first for Devin, who's used to being in last.
Right. Especially when he's like, sixes. I didn't even know I could go that low. So now he's in second, so he was going to misinterpret that as being first. Well, as long as he's there with his boy Mikey.
He shouldn't have complained. Remember that girl who got a 0?
Oh, God. Oh. Poor Lennox.
She came back, though.
Yeah,
and I think it with her 5 frames. You get a 0 and you only get 5 shots next week. Good luck. I'm telling the editors to prepare for a heart attack, so please give us that.
Well, I did have quite a heart attack when they gave Mikey best of the week. I just don't understand. Even in the context of the whole video being finished. Work
the whole way like a runway. Work the whole way like...
What I love the most is that the woman who sings this song, Story, she was like, oh, hallelujah, the check cleared. No, I will not be in the music video. No, thank you, and good night.
Sorry, you paid me just enough to get an 8-ball out of this gig, so I'm gonna enjoy that to erase the memory of it.
Oh my lord, what a song. It sounded like 3 songs in one.
It did. It sounded like portions of 3 different songs. You know, maybe it's like some samples. Like, here's, like, story, just it's like, here's some shit that I thought was going to become a song and it didn't. Just do whatever the hell you want with it to make it one song if you want. I don't fucking care. Just give me $500 and I'm going to go shopping.
That makes the most sense whatsoever because that last, like, the last third of the song.
Third of it was like, wait.
T.Y. That whole part sounded like some Katy Perry, like, reject song, right?
It kind of looked like, maybe that was part of the inspiration. It was Gaga meets Perry.
Did you get Gaga from that? Because I didn't.
No, the stupid costumes.
Oh, God, those costumes. And poor Lacey, she was in charge of having to shill that native advertisement. Yeah, she was trying to say the designer's name, like, oh, yeah, no, we've totally heard of him, right? I don't even remember what she said, because I was like, no one knows
Again, are they trusting Kelly Catrone's contacts for, like, reps on this show? Like, because it's not working, Tyra.
Well, they definitely took Kelly's advice to make Mikey, like, the sweetheart of this episode. I will not stop complaining about this, because I am livid, to be honest. I don't understand.
Justice for everyone but Mikey.
I don't understand why he got... Niall clearly worked it out the best. He made it definitely his own. He signed everything. I thought he brought a lot of energy, and I hate using that word. And I thought he was... I mean, even though I feel like he bobbled a little bit in that really dumb, bulbous vest they gave him.
Oh my God, that almost completely blocked his face.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was slightly better than Mikey's spikes shooting him out of his shoulders. And Devin's weird, like...
Stop hitting me with your things, guys. And I'm like, you don't say that very often. Don't you want men hitting you with their things?
Well, clearly she liked making out with Mikey, according to Mikey.
Well, Mikey thinks that of every woman, which is...
I'm gonna get my lips wet for you, baby. I was like, oh, God, You're so disgusting. You're just, oh my God, you're like a walking STD.
I'm gonna get Poison Ivy's, like, poison lip guard things that she used to kill people in Batman Forever.
I feel like you look at him and you get chlamydia. It's just gross.
It just, yeah, he has that vibe about him. That was pretty, I'm like, God, is this always how you are? Like, why do you have friends?
I don't think so.
And I don't think any of them are female. Somehow I get a vibe that you don't have a single friend who is a female unless
somehow
she's
I feel like
a lesbian.
You have a couple sexual assault charges on your rap sheet.
I mean, that's not a surprise. That has happened on Top Model before.
Well, he is from Florida.
It's not as bad as that Megan Wants a Millionaire,
murderer!
Apocryphal disaster that was that show. So Tyra, I don't think will ever sink to those depths. But, she's right, at the exact level we want her to be at. Just halfway between serious enough and crazy.
Well, speaking of Hadassah, her performance was pretty lackluster. Yeah. I mean, I know that we complained a little bit about her photo last week as being kind of like, whatever. It's fine. It's good for you. But it's not up to the level of, like, where everybody kind of should be at this point. And I don't feel like, she deserved to be second to Niall. Niall's photo, singing.
Yes.
And I feel like hers is kind of like, great, cool, sigh. But her performance in the video was just not great. She has, like, a very stilted presence. And like you said, she has some dead eyes going on, especially in her runway walk. But I'm thinking in particular of her, like, trying to command the black and white room, which I feel like that hallway was the make or break moment for a lot of people's performances in this video.
Miss J called it perfectly with her. It's like, like you were on the subway and, like, you lost your balance on the subway and you were trying to pretend like it was all part of your movement. Because she looks like she kind of, like, didn't, like, measure, like, exactly how she was moving forward, and she clearly, like, kind of slid off to the side, and, like, when she did lose her balance, and tried to make it look like I was trying to walk over here so I could roll against this wall towards the camera. And it's like, well, you tried. I appreciate that you tried, but I can see that you kind of hit the wall and tried to make it look better than it was, so I'm not buying this. Just like I didn't buy anything else you did this week.
Well, I did buy her genuine hate of Dustin.
I did buy that. She never got tired of that.
No, she was in.
That was her fuel for this episode.
But I definitely feel like that's a pageanty move to, like, put down someone else to bring yourself up.
Yeah.
In a shitty way. There's no other real way to put that, because that's exactly what she was doing.
That's what the pageant queens do.
Yeah, and speaking of pageant queens, I I actually really liked Mame's performance. I don't understand what everybody's problem was with her, other than, like we were saying, the fabricated, like, let's dampen these other people that you know are going to end up as the top three. Cough, Lacey, Niall, and Mame, cough.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's give them some curveballs, like Mame's sob story, coupled with, like, you need to let go of the diplomat's daughter, which I thought, you know, no one's runway walk was really exceptional, I thought. But then again, they haven't really worked on it the way that they usually do in past seasons. Everybody kind of had, like, kind of a meh walk. But I also feel like in this kind of clubby scene, unless you are Tyra Banks, who's done a ton of runway, that you're likely to not kind of embody some of that, like, clubby feel. Like, you know what I mean? But I feel like for whatever it's worth, Mame and Lacey, even though they both got knocked down a little bit for their runway walks, kind of brought the most energy to it. Like, Hadassah's was kind of dead-eyed. Dustin's was kind of weird.
Lacey seemed to be serving something in the face, you know? At least she was, like, giving you something.
She was definitely, like, she was moving. She was, like, she was being playful.
But they were like, oh, we can see how hard you had it with that. And you were making it look smooth. I'm like...
And you're one of, like, the better posers of this cycle. It's like, what does that have to do with a walk? Posing and walking are two different things.
And it's like, of all the people who give a walk on the actual runway part, not the working the hallway like a runway, but the actual runway.
Yeah, the working the hallway like the runway.
All Lacey the guys were
feel the guys were better, but I do feel like that's because they don't have to worry about looking sexy while dancing.
That's true.
Which is, like, a thing that chicks do. So... I feel like that
sexy.
But I feel like Mame, they didn't use a lot of the takes that we saw that were really good of her, like, swinging her hair around. So I felt like the dig at her not, I don't know, letting go, I guess, for lack of a better word, were kind of unwarranted because they just didn't use those takes. Just like the Hadassah picture thing, which is like, you could have easily used any photo for people that you were complaining blocked their face with one that they weren't blocking their face, if that's just not going to apply blanket to everyone.
But, like, even, like, when the whole thing was constructed, it didn't make any sense, the way it was put together. I'm like, I don't understand even, like, the sort of melodic or whatever kind of structure you have to the song. I don't understand.
So it starts with Tyra, like, doing slam poetry, talking about how, like, oh, she looks so good, she don't need nothing when she wake up, but some of us that wake up need to have makeup.
Poorly synced to the movement of her mouth.
Oh my lord, all of them had that problem. Like, I thought at first that it was just kind of like the clips that they were showing for judging that were like, okay, fine, whatever, we're just gonna lay this track and then it's gonna be like a really quick best of clip show and it won't really be what the judges are watching. But when we got to the world premiere of their music video, it was not synced up whatsoever. It looked insane.
Like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, the deaf person who can't hear the song synced his mouth movements to the song better than all of you who were actually hearing it as you were doing it. How does that happen? Like, it took so much more work for him to be able to do that. And somehow he could do it? I mean, it wasn't even just Dustin. He was like, if I could do it, why can't Dustin do it? It's like, burn.
Yeah, but hashtag like, Niall burn.
That's a good hashtag. We should use that because he gives one every episode.
Every episode he's got
But, like, it wasn't even just Dustin that was, like, having trouble with it. Everybody was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Tyra, whose song it's supposed to be, sort of, couldn't even do it. You all would have failed, and if you were lip-syncing for your life, you all would have been dead. There was a spoken word
intro, then it goes into the click it part, where it's like sort of like a rap song. It sounds a little Salt and Pepper, about like basic bitches or something, rewind, I don't really remember. But then it goes into like 90s club kid music with work the hallway like a runway, work the hallway like a runway. Which is basically the refrain over and over again. And then it goes into, like, a knockoff of Katy Perry's Firework / Roar. I don't really know the difference. It was strange. It was a strange carpet ride to be on. I didn't know. Maybe that's what they really wanted from Mikey. Maybe the song was kind of, like, devised in Tyra's 90s glory. And she wanted these 3 kinds of 90s influences. Like, she wanted
a mashup. Mashups are big now, aren't they?
Yeah, sure.
don't know.
I don't know either.
It's never gonna. Where is this music video gonna go?
I don't know because it's too long. Like, no one's gonna watch that whole thing.
You know, MTV doesn't show music videos anymore.
Well, I assume they would be on, like, the website or whatever.
Is anyone even gonna go to the website?
I mean, I'm assuming they have a website.
I mean, is it gonna be one of those ones where you go to the website and it automatically starts playing and you can't even start navigating the website until it's over?
I bet. It just makes you sit through it.
I'm like, oh, God.
And the very, very end, I mean, let's talk about that really quick. So, Lacey becomes the beautiful girl. She gets picked by Tyra in the crowd. I feel like this video told us that Lacey won. I don't know if I'm alone or not. But not only is she the star, but she gets picked by Tyra. She, at the very end, she's in the middle between Bomay and Tyra. And she's like, sign me up to, like, be a Beautytainer. Possibly. But there was just, like, a whole vibe where, like, we didn't see a lot of Lacey's footage. Even till the very, like, throughout the whole process, we didn't see a lot of, like, her shoot and how that went well. We just kind of saw her in the background a lot. And then the big reveal is, or at least to me the big reveal was, that Lacey's the star of it. So I kind of felt like, oh, okay, so Lacey wins. Is this what
And then she didn't win the challenge. It went to Mikey.
Mm-hmm. She didn't win best whatever, even though she was the star.
And she wasn't even first or second. She wasn't even second.
She was like fourth.
It was like, okay, you're just trying to make it.
Oh, wait, no, she was third. Just kidding. It was Mikey, Devin, Lacey. Then I believe it was Monet.
Because it said she was a disaster in the modeling part, only great in the acting. I'm like, you are trying way too hard to make us think that
so petty.
Got ways more to go before she can make it to final 3 or win this competition.
But they did that with all 3 of the models that we suspect will be the top 3.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like they were telling us anyway. Like trying to, nitpick Momet's performance and Niall's and Lacey's, when really they were kind of like the better ones. And everybody else that remains, Dustin, who was eliminated, Hadassah, Devin, and Mikey, all really just had one part that was, Hadassah had like maybe one memorable moment when she's looking into the mirror and it's Tyra talking to her. I feel like that was fine. But that was like 10 seconds. And then Mikey, fine, okay, you were great in the hallway, whatever, I guess. Agree to disagree. Because the rest of the shots that we had to choose from was just like him kind of like nodding his head. It was a lot of hair play, which is all he can do.
That's all he's got.
And I don't care. And I have hair too. I don't need you to see that. It's fine. And then Devin, I feel like he did the best in that hallway scene, or the black and white room, whatever. I thought that was kind of like his moment, and he looked really good in that. And so everybody else had a good moment, but overall performances definitely went to those 3. So the fact that they tried to subvert what we thought was going to happen was kind of obnoxious. But
with what obviously happened.
Yeah. Like, we have eyes. We saw the video. You guys are clearly high, or you guys talked with some producers earlier and were like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to throw everyone off the trail, but not really that well. So go team
I don't know if
A&TM.
they think they're not doing it that well. I bet they think they are doing it well.
Well, we're here to tell you that they're not.
Fail.
But next week looks to be like it's chock full of more drama.
Oh, that's good. That's what we had to rate this week's episode a little bit lower because I feel like it's just like the stepping stone to next week.
Well, we're in the final 6 here. Really, we already know the 3 that are definitely going home.
Like that they're going to go to another country at some point. I feel like it's still like
it can't just be Vegas, right?
It's not going to close the loop. The loop will not be closed at the end of the season if they don't at least go to some other.
Even if it's Canada. Kind of go-see? What kind of because we were talking about this the week before the go-see episode last week. When every country that they've traveled to in the past, they've done to go-sees
in that country. Now they did them before they even left.
Yeah, but even if they what kind of go-sees could they even possibly have in Vegas? I know that there's good shopping in Vegas, none of which I partake in because I can't afford it, but that is besides the point. I know that they have, good fashion, or they have good shopping there, but fashion, it's not the Mecca, or even second to whatever a Mecca could be. Yeah. It's not even on anyone's radar as a fashion capital. Maybe food. It's coming up in the food part a little bit. All I really could tell you about Vegas right now is that Brittany is there.
That's right. She's supposed to have a LGBT honoring performance or something.
Well, that sounds fun. But all I can tell you about Vegas is Brittany, and I don't know about go-sees, but I can't really. I can't
imagine who's operating there. I don't think
besides
Givenchy is there.
No, Givenchy's the storefront might be.
But
I feel like next week, do you think we're going to be seeing some Zappos Couture? Because it seems like they finally have another photo shoot. It's not going to be another music video, obviously. They can
Well,
only
they'll
really
be
do
wearing
one.
clothes. Maybe they'll be from Zappos Couture.
Yeah, I think that maybe next week might be a Zappos Couture thing.
You're going to be meeting
how
with
are you
the
going to get
CEO.
rid of 3 people while you're in Vegas? Like, it used to be a lot. There's more tension when you're in a different country and you have to fly back 12 hours.
Aren't they eliminating everyone but the final 3 next week or something?
I would hope so, just to save some time a little bit, right? I mean, Tyra, it's fall. We have, like, actually good scripted shows to watch.
I know, like, so much horror entertainment. I want horror-tainment right now, not just beauty-tainment.
The horror of being on America's Next Top Model is what should sustain us, supposedly.
That's very true.
I mean, do you want to take a stab at the order in which DMH are going to be going home?
DMT is going to go home in this order. DMT. No.
You really think?
I think Devin's going to go home before Mikey.
Okay.
So definitely DM. It's going to be in that order. Those 2. And then, who's left?
You really think Hadassah's going to stick around?
DMH. I think she... Well, you know, it could be DHM. Devin, Hadassah, Mikey.
Okay.
Because she seemed very, like, prissy and, you know, like, not, like, really...
She seemed to be more of... She was causing more Bea, like, drama.
Yeah.
And not focusing on herself like she said she wanted to.
Well, she probably was. She's just not an interesting person, so there's nothing interesting to come out of her when she's just being herself.
Well, I mean, in the sense that, like, her performance was lacking to the point where it landed her
on the... always been lacking.
Well, as opposed to last week where she was number 2, then she was bottom 2 this week.
That was story editing magic.
Right, but still, we're talking about what we have seen. So, she went from top 2 to bottom 2, and so if she was focusing on herself, maybe she would have not been in that position.
There's no hoping for her.
I really don't know if she's going to go home next week or not, though.
I feel like it would be Devin before her.
Really?
It's a toss-up between Devin and her being the next to go. I feel like Mikey's going to be, like, top 4.
Ugh.
And hopefully go home then. They try to do one of those stupid, like, shock twist things and be like, oh, Mikey turned out to rock it and Niall's going home.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine a Niall Mikey bottom 2?
Ugh.
I don't want to.
No. I can imagine a Niall being a bottom, but I guess that's not part of the show.
Not in the sense that you're thinking about. And on that note, please tell your friends about us.
Yes, please do.
Especially if they like America's Next Top Model. Notice, we don't discriminate against those who don't watch or even care for America's Next Top Model. If you just like to laugh about things that are ridiculous, this podcast is most certainly for you.
Absolutely.
You can tweet us who you think the top 3 is going to be and what order you think DMH will be going home. That's Devin, Mikey, and Hadassah for those that weren't listening in the last minute and a half for whatever reason.
It seems pretty obvious that they're going home.
We all know that that's what's happening. But if you think otherwise, please tweet at us and let us know.
Hashtag we were rooting for you.
Yes, please hashtag we were rooting for you. Or WW...
WWRFY. Is that what we're doing now?
No, we could do it. You could do it either way.
Either way. We'll look them both up.
And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or subscribe to GAMbIT Digital on YouTube. Please rate and review us for our ego's pleasure. And follow us on Twitter. You can follow us individually. I'm at Marg, she wrote.
I'm at Samiraculous. At Samiraculous. Like Samir and Miraculous. At Samiraculous.
Or you can follow GAMbIT Digital. You can tune into thegambitmag.com for our written reviews, America's Next Top Model, and also other TV reviews that we will be doing since, as we mentioned, fall, the most beautiful time of year, not because the leaves are changing, because we're from California and we have no idea what that looks like, but because TV is back in full force. So,
including horror TV.
Especially horror TV. And make sure you tune into our horror podcast, I Scream, You Scream, because we all scream for some really good horror shit. Right? Right. Great. So until next week, we bid you bye.